5. The Great Inventor. In November 2011, visitors played with big wood and metal models in a shopping centre in Adana, Turkey. They turned and moved things, took photos, and read about the life of Leonardo da Vinci. The 34 models were made from Leonardo's drawings, and they showed machines for building things, studying the weather, flying, and even walking on water. In Leonardo's time, people used machines to do things like move water or heavy stones. He learned to use and mend machines when he was an apprentice in Verrocchio's workshop. Leonardo studied these machines carefully and thought about different ways to use their parts. Leonardo invented new machine parts and drew plans for many new inventions. He designed terrible guns and machines that could cut wood or make paint or books. He also invented musical instruments. Leonardo made one instrument from silver. It sounded beautiful, and it looked like a horse's head. Some of Leonardo's most famous inventions are his robots. They worked like the parts in a clock. They could move around a room for a short time without any help. Leonardo built different robots to entertain people at parties. One robot was like a car with 3 wheels. Once, he built a robot soldier. It looked like a real person, and it could walk, move its arms, legs, and head, and open and close its mouth. Hundreds of years later, robot engineers in America have learned from Leonardo's robot designs. The drawings have helped them to build robots that look and move like people. In 1485, Leonardo designed a parachute, but it was 515 years before anyone tried his design. In 2000, a British man called Adrian Nicholas made a jump with a parachute that used Leonardo's design and materials from his time. And in 2008, Olivier Vietti-Tipa from Switzerland made a jump of about 600 meters with a parachute that used Leonardo's design but modern materials. Both parachutes worked. When Leonardo was in his 50s, he thought about his early life and wrote about it. What did he remember first? It was not his mother or father. It was a bird. When he was a baby, the bird flew down to him, and he never forgot it. Leonardo loved birds. He often bought birds from people in markets, but he did not keep them. He paid the money and took the birds. Then he opened his hands, and the birds flew away free. For years, Leonardo studied how birds fly. He dreamed of flying for most of his life, and he drew lots of different flying machines. One drawing shows a machine with turning wings. Leonardo's machine could not work, but nearly 400 years later, a young Russian boy called Igor Sikorsky saw the drawing. He was a dreamer too. After years of trying, in 1939, Sikorsky built and flew a helicopter, the VS-300. 4 years later, his factory was the first in the world to make helicopters. Another drawing shows an ornithopter, a flying machine with wings that moved up and down like a bird. A pilot used his arms and legs to move the wings. In Leonardo's time, it was not possible to build this machine because the materials were too heavy. Finally, in 2010, students in Canada built and flew an ornithopter. It was made of very light materials, and the pilot moved the wings up and down with his legs. In about 1505, Leonardo studied the wind on a hill near Florence, and he also wrote about flying from there. So the big question is, did he ever try to fly? At the time, Leonardo and Michelangelo were planning their pictures for the Great Battle. Both men wanted to show that they were the best. Was Leonardo planning to fly and show the world that he was cleverer than Michelangelo? 30 years after Leonardo died, a man called Girolamo Cardano wrote about how Leonardo tried to fly but could not. Cardano's father was Leonardo's friend. So, was it true? There is nothing about it in Leonardo's writing, so we do not know the answer. But we can imagine it. We can see him on a hill near Florence on a hot summer day in 1505. He is standing and looking at the fields below, with his long hair moving in the wind. He puts on his wings. What is he feeling? He has dreamed of flying all his life, and now it is time to try. He could die, but he has to know the answer. He runs into the wind as fast as he can. Six. Leonardo's City. In the terrible winter of 1485, thousands of people became ill in the city of Milan, and many died. Then, on the 16th of March, the sky became dark in the middle of the day. People in the streets did not know what was happening. They probably thought that it was the end of the world. Scientists like Leonardo knew that the moon was moving in front of the sun. Leonardo made holes in a piece of paper to watch it. The sun did not hurt his eyes because he held the paper in front of his face. In just 3 years, about a third of the people in Milan died. Leonardo looked at the city around him, with its dirty canals and narrow streets, and he began to draw plans for a better, cleaner city. Leonardo's city had big streets and large, open squares. He drew machines for moving water to workshops and houses, and he studied ways to keep the water clean. Some of Leonardo's drawings show a city on 2 levels. The bottom level was for canals and roads, so horses, boats, and workers could bring things in and out of the city. On the top level, people could walk about. Many buildings had doors on both levels. In some plans, the canals and streets went under the buildings. Leonardo's city was never built, but parts of many modern cities are built on different levels. In Leonardo's time, the center of Milan was inside a circle of canals. Water was used in the fields and to move machines in workshops, and boats moved things around the city. Leonardo looked at the canals and studied how water moved through them. He designed moving bridges and new ways to use water wheels, and he designed canals that would work better and stay clean. Leonardo also wanted to build new canals from Milan to other places like Pavia. In 1819, 300 years after he died, a canal was finished between Pavia and Milan became one of the most important river cities in Europe. Leonardo drew plans for a lot of buildings, like churches and castles. In 1506, he designed a house for Charles d'Amboise, the new ruler of Milan. There were 2 rivers near the house, so Leonardo designed 2 small canals to take water to a beautiful water garden in the house. Many of Leonardo's designs were very modern for their time, and most of them were not built. In 1503, Leonardo designed a bridge between the old city of Constantinople and Pera in Istanbul. The bridge in his plan, 240 meters long, was bigger than any bridge in the world at the time. Leonardo's design for the bridge was very new, and people did not try to build bridges in that way for another 300 years. The Istanbul Bridge was never built, but 500 years later, Norwegian artist Vebjørn Sand saw a drawing of the bridge and decided to build it. Finally, in 2001, a smaller Leonardo bridge was built across a road in Norway. Now, people are planning to build Leonardo bridges in Turkey, the USA, and other countries. Amazingly, In Des Moines, Iowa, in the USA, people decided not to build a Leonardo bridge because the design looked too modern. A time of war. Everyone who wrote about Leonardo said that he was a kind man. He was good to his apprentices, and he loved animals. So, why did he work for dangerous men and design terrible war machines? How did he feel when he finally saw war for himself? Many of Leonardo's inventions are war machines, and two of the most famous are called the machine gun and the tank. The machine gun drawings show lines of guns between two wheels. The guns shoot together, so they can kill a lot of soldiers at the same time. Leonardo's tank was a metal machine with 8 soldiers in it. The soldiers turned wheels inside the machine to move it, and they could shoot guns at the enemy outside. A few years ago, people built Leonardo's machine gun and tank for TV, and both machines worked. In 1499, the French king Louis XII went to war, and his army took the city of Milan. Leonardo left Milan and travelled with a friend to Venice. When he arrived in 1500, Venice was fighting a war with the Ottoman Turks. Turkish ships and an army of soldiers waited in the Adriatic Sea, near Venice. People in the city were worried. How could they stop the Ottomans from taking Venice? Leonardo went to the rulers of the city with his ideas. Leonardo planned some moving walls to stop the Turkish army at a river near Venice, and he also drew a boat which could go under the water. For another of his plans, Leonardo designed diving suits. 450 years before modern diving. Soldiers in diving suits could walk on the bottom of the sea, Leonardo explained, and make holes under the Turkish ships. In the end, the Ottoman army never tried to take Venice. Their ships sailed away to fight another battle. Nobody tried Leonardo's diving suit until a few years ago, when British diver Jackie Cozzens tried it on TV. After a small change to Leonardo's design, she walked on the bottom of the sea near Venice in a copy of the diving suit. Between 1502 and 1503, Leonardo worked for Cesare Borgia, the most dangerous man in Italy. In 2 years of bloody battles, Borgia's army took cities all over the centre of Italy. Borgia was trying to build a new country for himself and his father. Leonardo travelled with him and helped Borgia to build better castles. There were terrible battles. For the first time, Leonardo learned what it really means to be a war engineer. Cesare Borgia was a dangerous killer. He murdered a lot of his enemies and some old friends. Leonardo left him very suddenly in 1503, and perhaps he left just in time. Soon he was back in Florence. Florence was fighting a war with Pisa, and in June 1503 there was a terrible battle on a hill near Pisa. Soldiers from Florence took the castle on the hill, and a few days later Leonardo arrived there. Could the castle be stronger? Leonardo's job was to look at the castle carefully and find ways to do this before Pisa tried to take it back. Later, Leonardo and his friend, the writer Niccolò Machiavelli, had a good idea. Pisa got its water from the Arno River, and boats brought food into the city. So why not move the river? That way, Florence could win the war and also become richer. The rulers of Florence loved their plans. Canals could take the river away from Pisa, and ships could sail along the canals to Florence, so the city would have a way to the sea. In August 1504, thousands of workers began to cut the sides of the new canal. Leonardo designed machines to help, but he could not build them in time. In October 1504, there was a terrible storm. The sides of the canal fell away. 80 workers died, and the engineers went home. Once again, Leonardo tried to do too much. The Entertainer. The crowd laughs, cries, and shouts. Inside the theatre, mountains move, strange animals dance, and bright stars turn in the dark sky. When Leonardo planned parties and theatre performances for the court, they were nights of music, dancing, lights, and amazing surprises. Leonardo did not just plan things. He was a great entertainer too. He told funny stories, and he was a very talented musician. When he first went to Milan, he was called Leonardo the musician, not Leonardo the painter. He played musical instruments, and he sang as well. Leonardo also wrote stories. They were often about animals, and they always had an important idea in them, like why we must be kind to other people. His stories were told in courts all over Europe, and when people told them, the stories slowly changed. When Leonardo came into a room, everybody looked at him. He wore colourful clothes, he was very good-looking, and his hair was long, when most men cut their hair short. Leonardo was funny, clever, and talented. By 1500, he was famous too. When Leonardo left Florence to visit Milan in 1506, the city's rulers did not want him to go. But the new French rulers of Milan wanted him to work there. For years, the two cities fought for Leonardo's time. The most important men of Europe wanted Leonardo. But what about his family? When Ser Piero da Vinci died in 1504, he left houses and money to 11 of his 12 children. Leonardo got nothing. Many people in Leonardo's family did not have much time for him or love. As a young child, Leonardo had to leave his mother, Caterina, to live with his father in Florence. He became very close to Ser Piero's first wife, Albiera, but she died when he was young. After that, he was not close to many women, and he never married. In many ways, Leonardo's real family were his friends and apprentices. People like Salai, Zoroastro, and Melzi. Giacomo Caprotti was 10 years old when he became an apprentice in Leonardo's workshop in 1490. He was soon in trouble. The other apprentices called him Salai, which means bad boy. Salai said things that were not true and stole from people, but he became a talented painter. Over the years, he became one of Leonardo's closest friends. Tommaso di Giovanni Massini, or Zoroastro, was good at working with metals. He started working with Leonardo in the 1490s. He kept strange animals and wore very unusual clothes. Neither Zoroastro nor Leonardo ate meat because they did not want to kill animals for food. Zoroastro did not wear clothes that were made from animals either. Some people think that Zoroastro tried to make gold from other metals. Today, we know that this is not possible, but many people tried to do it in Leonardo's day. They worked in secret because it was a crime and you could die for it. We can imagine Zoroastro in a workshop in the middle of the night. He is standing near the fire, doing dangerous work, and there is a smile on his face. In 1507, Leonardo met a young man called Giovanni Francesco Melzi. Melzi came from a rich family, but like Salai, he became a painter in Leonardo's workshop. Leonardo was planning many books, and Melzi helped him to write his ideas. He followed Leonardo for the rest of the great man's life.